This week's quick and happy review is about a game that is currently on beta. Some assets, graphics, arguments and mechanics may not represent the final product, but thanks to Nightwolf Games for providing me with the beta key and for letting me review the game. Do not worry, your dear Lepaco the Luz is a nice guy. Also, you may notice that I'm doing this review in English. Yeah, Nightwolf Games likes the one in Spanish and asked me for a translation, so if you're new here, hi, this is Lepaco la Luz. This is Road to Hollow Hill. Road to Hollow Hill is a new game currently in beta that has been worked by Nightwolf Games, a small indie company. This being their first big project as a company. However, their team has a big resume. And I know this because they sent me their resume, and I might contract them for my very own video game, the super cool Lepaco de la Luz game, a 2D misadventure. Anyway, Road to Hollow Hill is a survivor horror game and you play as... Now that I think about it, it is never mentioned the name of the main character. Let me check on their website. So you're called John Silverdale. Cool. Anyway, John is constantly being tormented by nightmares that may or may not be trying to warn him something terrible may or may not be happening to her sister, Isabel. Not Isabel, Isabel. Who apparently was a volunteer in a generic investigation group for her university, and at some point she and some of her friends mysteriously disappear. John then apparently hacked into the Cambridge University main computer, and then he figured out that they are hiding an obscure secret behind the disappearance and investigation. Now, John will go look after his little sister at her last location, Hollow Hill. Okay? Bullshit! This is the most unnecessary, complicated intro ever. And I love it! Eat your hair out, the messenger. Before we talk about the game, let's analyze all of this for 1 second. First of all, John has a very turbulent past. He and his sister suffered the loss of their parents very early in their life, and then they were adopted. John really never recovered for their loss, and he filled up his existential dread with booze and the like. Remember kids, always trust therapy. And of course all his drunkenness madness also work out to push Isabel away. Now John is really sober and ready to patch things up with his sister. And of course, cruel destiny, now his sister was kidnapped by an evil corporation that probably is going to do horrible experiments on her, and that is probably why she's not answering his call. That explains a lot, blah 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 blah. Do not worry, little sis, me and my chopper will save you, but first let me fight this cosmic horror monster and let me solve some puzzles. Okay, now we can talk about the gameplay. As I said, Road to Hollow Hill is a survivor horror game, and as such, you will have your regular puzzle solving shenanigans. Collect the penguin and get the button, then the penguin press the button and you grab the golden banana. Then, meet Golbov at Poshley Heights. He will send you to the far outpost. You will need to speak with the Papa at the General House. He will tell you that General White is in Roadport, then Poshley in the inn will tell you that General White has gone to Glitzville. Go to Glitzville and chat with the juice bar owner, then return to Poshley Heights and talk to Golbov again, only to figure out that the General White is in the far outpost to begin with. Yeah, well, the game's still on beta, so they might take away the General White side quest, but what they will not take away is the general atmosphere, the body horror, zombies, petrified situation, giant insects, small bees, not the bees!
Not the bees! Ah! Open my eyes! Eyes! Ah! Ah!
Luckily, we do have an adorable smoke machine. Supposedly, you will have to upgrade it in the future. And hey, you do also have some RPG mechanics. You can upgrade some of your stats like HP, attack damage and energy. Unfortunately, this super important mechanic is behind some random pebbles that you might be able to find if you explore enough. I say might because I was unable to find any of them during my playthrough. But this might be my fault, since the first time I played the game, I put the gamma way low and I was unable to see anything. But then I cranked the gamma up and I was able to see too much. Again, this might be my own fault. Now, the elephant in the room. Yeah, this game has a lot in common with Silent Hill. One might be silent though, and the other one might be hollow, but they are both hills. And I truly do not care about this. IMO? If the owner of a AAA IP are not doing anything with their toys, then let the indie developer have fun. Also, fuck Konami. And yeah, Road to Hollow Hills adopts several elements from Silent Hill and make great use of them, like finding items in weird places that have no sense, enemies that appear out of thin air, supernatural events that have no purpose, and the way you handle your inventory, obviously with their own identity. But if there's something that Road to Hollow Hill fed up on Silent Hill perfectly, it's the internal psychological horror that the main character has. I might not be the best Silent Hill player, because I'm a wuss and I've never played the game, but I do know that Pyramid Head is an interpretation of the main character's mental dilemmas and problematic psyche, a physical manifestation if you will, and Silent Hill itself, it's a mental place of a broken mind. In our game, Road to Hollow Hill, hence the title, it's basically the internal struggle of our main character and the fight against his own demons and schizophrenia. John is a broken man, and the best way to see this is in the initial hub of the game, John's room, which shows his current state of mind. Everything's dark, everything's damp, nothing seems to be real. His room only have his obsessions, his violence, and his mental crisis that are all symbols of schizophrenia. In fact, originally there was this glitch that the initial narration for some reason generated the following paragraph before the current one has ended, and I'm glad to let you know that this glitch has been made canon, thanks to me. I mean, thank you, and you're welcome. Thanks to this, the initial monologue, it's more like a guy who's hearing voices in his mind, which makes perfect sense. Also, our objective is our sister, and her name is Isabel, which is a variant for the name Isabel, but it has been made deliberately modified to assimilate the word isolate. I know this because there's a song called Isabel by the Icelandic group Björk about a little girl who is lonely and with emotional conflicts who love the forest. Also, the last place where Isabel was seen was in the Skagit County in Washington. In fact, Skagit in local language, Lushosin, means people who hide, just like Isabel. Also, for some reason they also include the legendary monologue of the Scorpion and the Frog by Orson Welles in the film Mr. Akidin.
Now I'm going to tell you about Scorpion.
A great movie about the search of the truth and acceptance of oneself, even with our own defects. We also need to consider the symbolism of John and Isabel's name. Both are biblical names that imply God's compassion and compromise to mankind, which make both characters ironic considering the fate they're living. And finally, their last name, Silverdale, which is super funny since it's also the name of a county in Washington, which was originally going to be called Goldendale. But that name was taken, and since its founder, William Littlewood, liked it so much, instead of thinking of another name, he simply said, fuck it, and go to the second best option and call it Silverdale. I am, of course, looking way too much into it, but I strongly believe in the potential of this game, and if Nightwolf Game can make this a memorable experience about a guy struggling with his emotions and his mental health, I believe that we'll have a big game in our hands. Also, and again, this game's in beta, so there's a lot of errors and bugs that needs to be ironed out, but the team is always ready to iron them out. If you want, you can contact them and get your very own beta key. Although I do love these bugs, they're like small part of a broken man's psyche. Here I somehow unload all the water texture and softlock myself. A very complicated mind. I really hope that our friends at Nightwolf make a game that we can all get and enjoy. This has been Lepaco de la Luz. Let me know if you want more review in English, and please subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Ciao ciao.